The twin suns of Zorath 5 dipped low on the horizon, painting the dusty colony in shades of red and gold. The wind carried a faint metallic scent, remnants of forgotten ships and broken machinery scattered across the barren spaceport. Lyra wiped sweat from her brow as she crouched beside a half-buried metal hull, its edges rusted and jagged. It had been a quiet morning, as quiet as mornings got in a place where most of humanity had long since left. Colonists came and went, trading scraps and old tech, but no one cared much for the forgotten relics buried beneath the sand. Lyra, however, had a different fascination. She was not like the others. While they scoured the planet for survival, she hunted for secrets, the kind only history could hide. "This is it," she whispered, brushing off a layer of dust. The ship beneath her hands was unlike anything she had ever seen. Sleek lines of polished metal peeked through the grime, with strange carvings etched along its side. Its design was elegant yet alien, with no resemblance to any human vessel. "Looks like no one's touched you in centuries," Lyra murmured. Her fingers traced the carvings, and for a brief moment a shiver ran down her spine. Something about the ship felt alive, as if it were waiting for her. She had found many old ships in her life, but this one was different. For one, it hummed faintly, a vibration she could feel through the soles of her boots. She stood up and circled the ship, inspecting the hull. The sand had preserved most of its structure, and she could see the faint glow of a power core buried deep within. "Let's see if you still have some life left," she said, crouching to inspect the access panel. With deft hands, she removed the cover and stared at the intricate wiring. Her heart raced. Alien circuits intertwined with technology she had only read about in old starship manuals. Hours passed, and Lyra worked tirelessly, connecting wires, cleaning circuits, and tracing power conduits. Sweat dripped from her forehead, but her eyes never left the ship. Then finally she inserted the last connector. A soft, melodic chime echoed from the hull. The ship's lines glowed faintly, a gentle light pulsating along the carvings. Lyra stepped back, astonished. The vessel was waking up. "Hello?" she said cautiously. "Can you hear me?" A voice responded, not through speakers but in her mind. "Calm, deep, and resonant. I hear you, human." Lyra stumbled backward, blinking. "What? Who are you?" "I am Aeon, core of this vessel. You have awakened me." Lyra's eyes widened. I didn't know it could talk. "I thought it was just a ship. Ship such as I do not speak to just anyone. You have the skill and the patience. That is why I am awake now." Lyra swallowed hard. Her mind raced. A talking alien ship? She had read about AI cores, but none like this. Most were human-made, logical, predictable. Aeon was different, almost human in the way it spoke, yet ancient and foreign. I'm just a mechanic," she said, almost apologetically. "I fix things. I don't know how to do anything else. Mechanics are rare among humans these days. But skill without wisdom is wasted. You possess both in small measure. That is enough to begin." Lyra took a deep breath. "Begin what?" "Restoration and understanding. This ship is more than metal and circuits. It is a key." "A key? To what?" she asked, her curiosity overwhelming her fear. "The galaxy itself, or rather peace within it. But do not misunderstand. Many will try to take this key for themselves. They do not understand what they seek." Lyra felt a pang of unease. Her quiet life, her solitary work, was suddenly in the crosshairs of something much larger than herself. She had never wanted attention. She had never wanted power. She only wanted knowledge. "Why me?" she asked. "Because only a human can do what must be done. Logic alone cannot solve this. Creativity, unpredictability, and courage. These are human traits needed to awaken the full potential of this ship." Lyra stared at the hull. It no longer looked like a simple relic. It looked alive, waiting, almost expectant. The next day she began her work in earnest. She scavenged parts from the colony's junkyard, merging human technology with the alien systems Aeon guided her to repair. The locals whispered about her work, calling it foolish, dangerous, or worse, impossible. But Lyra ignored them. Hours melted into days. She slept little, ate less, and spent every waking moment tuning the ship's engines, decoding Aeon's instructions, and marveling at how alien technology could bend to her touch. Aeon taught her the language of the ship, patterns that made sense only when combined with intuition. Lyra discovered that certain alien symbols could realign circuits, improving efficiency far beyond human engineering. And then came the first test. Lyra had restored enough systems to attempt a power-up. The ship rumbled beneath her, vibrating with contained energy. Her fingers hovered over the control panel, heart hammering. "Ready?" she asked Aeon. "As ready as one can be. Trust in yourself." She pressed the activation sequence. Lights flared, engines hummed, and the ship lifted slightly off its supports. Dust swirled around it as a low, resonant tone filled the air. Lyra laughed, exhilarated. "You're alive," she shouted, voice echoing across the empty spaceport. Aeon's hum became a soft, musical response. "I am not merely alive. I am aware, and soon, the galaxy will notice." At first, Lyra thought it was a joke. But the next morning, scouts from a distant trade fleet arrived, reporting unusual energy readings from the colony. Rumors spread. A human had restored an alien warship. Some laughed, some were skeptical, but others were curious, and some were dangerous. The first encounter happened in the afternoon. A small skiff of scouts hovered near the colony, weapons visible. Lyra froze for a moment. Aeon's calm voice filled her mind. "Do not panic, observe, learn, then act." Following Aeon's guidance, Lyra maneuvered the ship carefully. Its engines purred, responding seamlessly to her input. She wasn't a pilot by trade, yet she instinctively understood the ship's movements. The scouts, expecting an abandoned relic, were taken aback when the ship rose fully into the sky and glided toward them with controlled precision. One of the alien scouts, speaking in broken trade language, called out, "Human, step down, that vessel belongs to—" Lyra cut him off. "It belongs to no one, and it's under repair." She didn't know why she said it, but it felt right. The scout hesitated. Lyra used the moment. She activated the ship's hidden defensive systems, not to attack, but to display capability. Lights flashed, energy shields shimmered, and a low hum filled the air. The scout's weapons powered down instinctively, unsure how to proceed. "You see," Aeon said softly in her mind. "Humans think differently. They do not always follow expectation. That is why you are key." The scouts backed off, reporting to higher command that something unusual had awakened. Lyra realized with a mix of pride and fear that she had made a name for herself before even leaving her colony. She had touched the first threads of a story that would ripple across the galaxy. By nightfall, Lyra sat on a ridge overlooking the colony, the twin suns gone, leaving a blanket of stars above. The ship rested beside her, its hull glowing faintly as if breathing. Aeon's voice was calm but full of significance. "Rest now. Soon you must journey beyond this place. The galaxy waits, and it is not kind to the unprepared." Lyra looked at the stars, heart pounding. She had wanted knowledge, secrets of old ships, puzzles of forgotten civilizations. But now, it seemed the universe had chosen her for something far larger. She did not yet understand it, but she felt it deep within. Somewhere out there in the vast expanse between stars, countless civilizations were watching. And one human woman had just awakened the key that could change everything. Lyra smiled, a mixture of fear and excitement curling in her chest. The adventure had begun. The morning sun had barely crested the horizon when Lyra climbed into the cockpit of the alien ship. The twin engines hummed gently beneath her hands, responding to even the slightest touch. Aeon's voice resonated in her mind, calm and patient. "The galaxy is awake. They have noticed you." Lyra swallowed. The words made her stomach tighten. She had thought that repairing the ship was the most dangerous thing she would do. But now she understood. There were eyes watching from distant star systems, eyes that would not tolerate a human wielding alien power. "Who are they?" she asked. "Various factions. Traitors, mercenaries, even governments. They seek control of what you possess. You must be careful. Your ingenuity is your weapon, but subtlety will protect you more than brute force at first." Lyra nodded, though a part of her heart raced with fear. She had not anticipated that her quiet life on Zorath 5 would suddenly be the center of galactic attention. By mid-morning, reports began trickling in. Scouts from nearby trade fleets had detected unusual energy readings from the colony. A small vessel, sleek and unfamiliar, had emerged from the sands. Rumors spread fast, carried by transmissions across multiple star systems. "Human technician awakens ancient alien vessel," one report stated. "Unknown ship exhibits new warp capabilities," another warned. Lyra worked in the ship's workshop, Aeon guiding her as she fine-tuned the engines. She discovered that the ship could manipulate gravitational fields, creating temporary distortions in spacetime, warp jumps beyond anything human science had achieved before. This is incredible, she whispered to herself, eyes wide. It is more than incredible, Aeon corrected softly. It is dangerous, and others will come to take it. Her first encounter with danger came sooner than expected. By late afternoon, a small mercenary vessel appeared above the colony, weapons glinting in the sun. Its hull was marked with symbols she did not recognize, but the intent was clear. They had come for the ship. They do not know what they are facing, Aeon murmured. Lyra's hands hovered over the controls. Fear surged through her, but she forced it aside. She was not a soldier, not a fighter. She was a mechanic. But Aeon had shown her how the ship could move, react, and defend itself in ways no human mind had yet imagined. The mercenaries fired a warning shot. It landed harmlessly in the sand, but the intent was clear. Lyra pressed a sequence on the console, and the ship responded instantly. A faint energy shield shimmered over the hull, bending the light around it. The attackers paused, confused by the sudden display. Lyra felt a surge of confidence. She had never commanded a battle before, but instinct guided her. The ship pulsed beneath her, and she realized something extraordinary. She could feel its will, as if the ship and Aeon were extensions of herself. Move, Aeon suggested. Lyra nodded, taking a deep breath. She pushed the throttle forward. The ship lifted, dust and debris flying in every direction. Within moments, it was gliding above the colony, light shimmering over its surface. The mercenaries hesitated, unable to predict what the ship would do next. Using the gravitational warp generators, Lyra made a small jump, appearing a few kilometers away. The attackers blinked, then fired again, but their shots passed harmlessly through a distortion field the ship had created. Impressive, Aeon said, almost amused. You are learning quickly. Lyra smiled, though her hands were still shaking. For the first time, she realized she was not just restoring a ship, she was mastering it. By evening, the mercenaries had retreated. Lyra landed the ship in a hidden canyon, keeping it out of sight. Aeon explained why the attack had failed. Your unpredictability saved you. Humans think differently from other species. They follow patterns, routines, expectations. You do not. That is your strength, Lyra nodded slowly. She understood what Aeon meant. She had not relied on brute force. She had relied on her creativity and instinct. That was a distinctly human trait, and it could save her life. But Aeon's next words carried a warning. This is only the beginning. Others will come. Larger ships. More firepower. They will not stop until they control what you possess. Lyra leaned back in her seat, staring at the console. The realization sank in. She was at the center of a galactic storm she had never asked for. What do we do? She asked quietly. We leave, Aeon said simply. You must journey beyond this system, learn, gather knowledge. The galaxy is vast and you are its key, but you cannot remain here, not with them hunting you. The next morning, Lyra made preparations to leave Zorath 5. She packed essential supplies, tools, and a few personal items. The colony folk watched silently, some with suspicion, some with awe. Whispers followed her as she climbed aboard the ship. Where are you going? A trader asked, voice trembling slightly. Lyra did not answer. She only smiled faintly. The answer was too big for anyone on the planet to understand. As she activated the engines and lifted off, Aeon explained the journey ahead. We will first visit nearby star systems. There are civilizations that will be hostile, others curious and some indifferent. Observation is key. Learn before acting. Trust yourself, but do not underestimate them. The stars stretched before her as the ship glided into space. For the first time, Lyra felt a sense of freedom. The colony was behind her, the desert sands fading into the distance. Ahead lay the unknown, the vastness of the galaxy, and the responsibilities she had yet to comprehend. The first stop was the trade hub of Veyron 3, a bustling space station orbiting a gas giant. Ships from hundreds of species came and went, carrying goods, passengers, and secrets. Lyra had to be careful. Word of her ship had already spread through subspace channels. Remember, Aeon warned, observe first, speak second. Humans can be clever, but pride can be dangerous. Docking in a quiet sector, Lyra scanned for signs of attention. Immediately, she noticed a few glances that lingered too long, curious, calculating. One small delegation of alien traders approached, speaking cautiously in broken trade language. You have ship, one said. Very old. Very powerful. Lyra nodded, smiling faintly. Yes, it's unique. The aliens studied her carefully, noting the human confidence mixed with naivety. They asked questions, probing for weakness, for signs of knowledge. Lyra answered carefully, learning what she could. In return, Aeon shared insights on their technology, communications, and fleet movements. This is how we survive, Aeon said softly. Knowledge is as much a weapon as firepower. Days passed, and Lyra learned quickly. She discovered that galactic factions were not only curious but aggressive. One group, the Zareth Dominion, had started deploying reconnaissance drones to track unusual energy signatures. Her ship's power. They will try to intercept us soon, Aeon warned. We must be ready. Lyra nodded, her mind racing. She spent nights tuning the ship systems, installing evasive modules, and designing subtle camouflage techniques. She realized something important. While alien technology could be precise and powerful, humans could adapt in ways no other species could. Creativity, improvisation, and risk-taking gave her a unique advantage. The first test came sooner than expected. While traveling through a dense asteroid field, a squadron of Dominion fighters emerged, weapons primed. They had tracked her signature and intended to seize the ship by force. They are fast, Aeon observed, but they are predictable. Lyra felt her heart pound. The ship's controls were responsive, intuitive. Trusting her instincts, she guided the vessel through the twisting asteroid field, dodging lasers and traps. Where alien pilots relied on calculated trajectories, Lyra relied on gut feeling. She zipped between rocks, flipped unexpectedly, and created a path the Dominion fighters could not anticipate. By the time they emerged from the field, the enemy was in disarray. Several ships had collided with asteroids, and the remainder retreated in confusion. You see, Aeon said, humans are underestimated. That is your greatest strength. Lyra exhaled, laughing in disbelief. I did it, she shouted, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Yes, Aeon replied, and this is only the beginning. As they traveled further into the galaxy, Lyra began to understand the truth. She was not just a mechanic restoring an old ship. She was a human with the capacity to change the course of civilizations, to outthink, outmaneuver, and survive in ways no other species could. But the galaxy was vast, and many forces would test her. Knowledge, skill, and courage would be her weapons. And somewhere ahead, the key to peace waited, though Lyra did not yet know how she would use it. The stars stretched endlessly before her, and for the first time, Lyra felt the weight of destiny pressing on her shoulders. But she also felt excitement, adventure, challenge. The ship glided silently through the endless black of space. The stars stretched like a river of diamonds. Lyra sat in the cockpit, her hands steady on the controls, though her mind buzzed with the challenges ahead. Aeon's calm voice filled her thoughts, guiding her through every decision, every turn. We must travel carefully, Aeon said. The galaxy is vast but not forgiving. Every civilization has rules, and many will not accept interference from humans. Lyra nodded. Though she had faced danger before, she understood that this journey was not about fighting. It was about learning, observing, and surviving. Their first destination was Orvax Prime, a planet known for its sprawling trade cities and powerful merchant guilds. The planet orbited a gas giant, its surface glittering with lights from floating marketplaces and starship ports. Lyra had heard rumors. The Orvaxians were shrewd, suspicious of outsiders, and quick to exploit weakness. Remember, Aeon said, humans are unpredictable. That is your greatest advantage. Use it wisely. Lyra landed the ship in a quiet sector, its hull cloaked to avoid unnecessary attention. She stepped out into the bustling streets, surrounded by beings of every shape and color. Some had 6 arms. Others glided above the ground, while a few resembled vaguely humanoid figures. All eyes turned toward her and the alien ship. A group of merchants approached, led by a tall, thin alien with glowing eyes. Human, he said, voice echoing unnaturally. That ship. It belongs to the Dominion, yes? Or to someone more powerful than yourself? Lyra shook her head, keeping her voice calm. It belongs to no one. It is mine to restore, nothing more. The merchant's glowing eyes narrowed. Bold words. Humans are clever, but cleverness does not equal power. You will need allies if you wish to survive. I can make my own alliances, Lyra replied, but I will not be intimidated. Aeon hummed softly. Your courage is noted, but caution will keep you alive longer than bravery alone. The merchants exchanged glances, then nodded. One of them extended a small device, a holographic map of star systems with colored markers indicating known superweapon locations. We observe what others cannot. Your ship, it is more than a vessel. It is a key. Treat it carefully. Lyra stared at the map. She could see the faint lines of energy flowing across the galaxy, connecting the most dangerous installations. She realized that the ship held a way to interact with these networks, potentially controlling them. Aeon, she whispered. Is this what I think it is? Yes. The ship can synchronize with the galaxy's superweapon network. In the wrong hands, it could destroy millions of worlds. In the right hands, it can prevent endless war. Lyra's chest tightened. She had repaired the ship for curiosity and knowledge, not for responsibility on a galactic scale. Yet here she was, holding a power unimaginable, feared by the galaxy's most dangerous factions. Their next stop was Tavris Station, a small but strategically important hub controlled by the Vryn Syndicate, a group notorious for espionage and mercenary work. Lyra hoped for information, but she did not expect the reception. You travel far for a human, a Vryn agent said, a glint in her many eyes. Few are capable of awakening what you possess. Fewer still survive. Lyra smiled faintly. I am not looking for trouble. I only wish to learn. The agent tilted her head, studying Lyra. Humans, unpredictable, curious, bold. You may be the key, but the key is also dangerous. Many will try to take it from you. Allies are not just helpful, they are essential. Lyra realized the truth in those words. She had survived her first encounters with ingenuity and courage, but alone she could not traverse the galaxy safely. Aeon suggested approaching smaller civilizations first, those curious but less aggressive. Lyra agreed. She began forming tentative alliances. A Tavris scientist, impressed by her knowledge of alien technology, offered assistance in decoding ship systems and teaching Lyra the basics of alien fleet strategy. A pair of Orvax traders provided information on Dominion movements, hinting at patrol patterns and weak points in their surveillance. With each new alliance, Lyra's confidence grew. Aeon encouraged her. Humans possess creativity others do not. Combine it with alliances, and you have strength no fleet can match. Weeks passed, and Lyra learned not only to navigate space but also to navigate diplomacy. Some civilizations were hostile, expecting humans to be primitive and weak. Lyra used clever negotiation, sometimes even bluffing with the ship's power to gain respect. On the fringes of a star system controlled by the Zareth Dominion, Lyra encountered her first major threat, a fleet of Dominion warships, scanning the sector for unusual activity. They seek you, Aeon warned. And they bring overwhelming force. Lyra studied the fleet. Conventional tactics would fail. The Dominion pilots were trained, disciplined, and predictable. Aeon suggested using unpredictability, the human element, to escape. Lyra activated the ship's warp field, not to flee, but to create illusions. The fleet detected multiple false signals, decoys that mimicked the ship's signature in several places at once. Then at the last moment, she made a short-range warp jump behind the fleet. The Dominion commander hissed over comms. Impossible! How did the human... Lyra smiled faintly, guiding the ship out of danger. She realized that Aeon was right. Humans were underestimated. And that underestimation was a weapon. You see? Aeon said softly. Your mind combined with this ship is already shaping the galaxy, but the true challenge lies ahead. Lyra nodded. She understood that she was not merely surviving. She was learning to master influence, strategy, and perception. Each encounter tested her, honed her instincts, and made her more than just a mechanic. By the time Lyra reached Vela 9, a planet hidden deep in a disputed sector, she began to see the bigger picture. The galaxy's superweapon network was vast, connecting fleets and installations across thousands of systems. Most civilizations had learned to fear the network. Some were trying to control it, while others hoped to destroy it. Aeon revealed that the ship was capable of interfacing with this network, but the process required precision and a human mind. Only a human could unlock the ship's true potential to neutralize the weapons without destroying entire star systems. Lyra felt the weight of her responsibility. She had started this journey curious, seeking knowledge. Now she realized that the galaxy itself depended on her decisions. The power of life and death, war and peace rested in her hands. I don't know if I'm ready, Lyra admitted softly, staring at the stars. You are ready, Aeon said firmly. But readiness is not courage. Courage is acting despite fear. You have shown it time and time again. The next steps will require both. Her journey continued. Each system brought new challenges. Hostile factions testing her skills, curious civilizations questioning her motives, and allies offering knowledge that could save lives or risk betrayal. Lyra learned to anticipate, adapt, and improvise. She discovered that even when powerful technology existed, the human element, creativity, unpredictability, and courage could shift outcomes in ways no algorithm could predict. For the first time, Lyra understood what Aeon had meant when it called her a key. She was not a weapon herself, nor was the ship. Together they were a catalyst, a spark capable of shaping civilizations, of turning the tide toward peace or destruction. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, the true test awaited, the point where knowledge, courage, and ingenuity would be measured against forces that had ruled the stars for centuries. The stars stretched endlessly before her. Lyra knew one thing for certain: she would not falter. Humans had always been underestimated, dismissed as primitive, weak, or insignificant. But here she was, a human woman guiding an alien warship through the galaxy, learning to unlock secrets older than most civilizations. The galaxy stretched like a canvas of light and darkness, dotted with stars, nebulae, and distant worlds. Lyra sat in the cockpit, hands resting lightly on the controls, but her mind was heavy with thought. Aeon's calm presence filled her mind, a constant guide in the vast, unpredictable expanse. "We are approaching the heart of the Dominion sector," Aeon said softly. "They know you travel. They will not wait long before attempting to seize the ship." Lyra exhaled, gripping the console. She had faced small attacks and hostile fleets, but the Dominion was different. They were organized, ruthless, and calculating. Survival would require more than skill with the ship. It would require cunning, creativity, and courage. "I've done my best so far," Lyra murmured. "But what if it's not enough?" "That is precisely why you are human," Aeon replied. "No calculation can predict your choices. That unpredictability, your creativity, gives you the advantage others cannot see." Lyra nodded slowly. She understood now what Aeon meant. Alien civilizations relied on rigid strategy, logic, and expectation. Humans, by contrast, could improvise, adapt, and think in ways no algorithm or strategy manual could predict. Her mind, paired with the ship's power, could challenge forces far stronger than herself. The first warning came in the form of an assassination attempt. While Lyra and Aeon docked at a neutral station on Kryn 7, a small vessel slipped silently into the hangar. Its occupants moved quickly, aiming to infiltrate the ship. Lyra noticed only subtle hints: a shadow shifting unnaturally, sensors picking up faint energy spikes. "Aeon." "Someone's here," she whispered, reaching for the emergency controls. "Prepare yourself," Aeon advised. "But remember, fight only if necessary. Often, observation is the stronger weapon." The intruders moved with precision, expecting resistance. Lyra did not attack immediately. Instead, she activated the ship's subtle defensive fields, creating illusions and false readings. The intruders hesitated, confusion spreading among them. Lyra seized the moment, using the ship's mobility to place herself behind them unseen. "Humans do not always fight in straight lines," Aeon noted. "You are unpredictable. That is why you survive." With a swift maneuver, Lyra trapped the intruders in a secure compartment. Security personnel arrived moments later, finding the would-be assassins disarmed and restrained. Lyra realized that she was learning not just to pilot the ship, but to outthink, outmaneuver, and survive in ways no other species could. Days later, as the ship traveled through a sector rife with Dominion patrols, Aeon revealed a deeper secret. "There is a way to access the ship's ultimate function," Aeon said. "It allows control over the superweapon network, neutralizing their destructive potential. But it requires a human mind to complete the synchronization. No alien could do this. Only a human can bridge the gap." Lyra's heart skipped a beat. "You mean?" "I could end the war before it even begins." "Not end it entirely," Aeon clarified. "But you could prevent escalation, neutralize the weapons, and create a chance for lasting peace. The responsibility is immense. Failure is unthinkable." Lyra swallowed hard. She had repaired the ship for curiosity, for knowledge, but now the stakes were far higher. One wrong move could destroy entire star systems. Yet she felt a spark of determination. Humans were underestimated, dismissed as weak or insignificant. Now she had the chance to prove that their creativity, courage, and ingenuity could shape the galaxy. The next challenge came when a Dominion fleet attempted to ambush her in the Neres Belt, a region of dense asteroids and nebula clouds. The enemy had superior firepower and strategy, but Lyra had something they could not predict: human ingenuity. "We cannot outgun them," Aeon noted. "But we can outthink them." Lyra scanned the asteroids, analyzing trajectories and potential cover. Then an idea struck her. Using the ship's gravitational field generators, she manipulated the asteroid clusters, creating temporary channels and barriers. The Dominion fleet followed her predictable path, only to find themselves trapped in a maze of rocks and energy distortions. "Unconventional tactics," Aeon said with approval. "Precisely what is needed." Lyra smiled faintly, heart racing. The enemy struggled to adapt to her maneuvers, colliding with asteroids or wasting energy on futile attacks. With a few bold jumps, she disappeared into the nebula, leaving the Dominion fleet disoriented and frustrated. "You see, Lyra," Aeon said, "human creativity is the ultimate weapon. You adapt when others cannot. That is why you are key." Lyra exhaled, realizing the truth. The galaxy relied on predictability. Humans, by contrast, thrived on unpredictability. Where others failed, humans succeeded. And now she carried that potential with her. But not all challenges were battles. Some were moral dilemmas. Lyra discovered planets on the brink of war, entire civilizations torn by fear of the superweapon network. Some factions begged her for intervention. Others demanded obedience. Each choice carried consequences, and Aeon reminded her that her actions, however small, could ripple across the galaxy. "You cannot save everyone," Aeon said. "You can only choose wisely." Lyra grappled with the weight of decision-making. Should she reveal the ship's capabilities to prevent immediate conflict? Or should she move cautiously, learning more before acting? Every choice had consequences, and she knew that failure could mean death on a planetary scale. One encounter left her shaken. On Dravos 4, a planet caught between warring factions, she found an entire city prepared for destruction. Both sides had superweapons targeted at the other, and the civilian population was unaware of the danger. Lyra realized that revealing herself could escalate the conflict, but doing nothing would allow mass casualties. "We can disable the weapons temporarily," Aeon suggested. But we must act subtly. Direct interference could provoke retaliation." Lyra spent hours planning, using the ship's capabilities to manipulate energy signatures and disable targeting systems without revealing her presence. By the time the factions realized the weapons were offline, tensions had cooled enough for negotiation to begin. Lyra watched from orbit, heart pounding with relief. "Sometimes," Aeon said, "the greatest victories are invisible. Human patience and foresight are as valuable as bravery and skill." The journey continued. Lyra's reputation began to spread, whispered across star systems. Some called her a savior, others a dangerous anomaly. She encountered civilizations that distrusted humans, assuming they were primitive or reckless. Each encounter was a test. Could she gain trust, avoid conflict, and protect the ship's secrets? Her human traits, ingenuity, creativity, courage, were tested daily. She learned to negotiate with aliens whose logic was rigid, to bluff against enemies whose strategy relied on predictability, and to improvise solutions when technology alone was insufficient. One notable encounter involved the Telvanni Council, rulers of a massive system with hundreds of inhabited planets. They demanded that Lyra hand over the ship for the greater good. Lyra refused, knowing that alien greed and fear could corrupt the network. Instead, she demonstrated the ship's capabilities indirectly, showing how human ingenuity could neutralize threats without violence. The Council, impressed and cautious, allowed her to continue. Though under surveillance, Lyra realized the importance of subtlety. Sometimes influencing others quietly was more powerful than open confrontation. Weeks turned into months. Lyra traveled deeper into the galaxy, piecing together information about the superweapon network. She discovered hidden nodes, secret relay stations, and powerful installations scattered across star systems. The ship's true potential became clearer. It could synchronize with the network, disable weapons, and prevent war, but only if she used her human mind to guide the process. "The galaxy has underestimated you," Aeon said one night. "Now it is time to prove what humans can do." Lyra stared at the stars, feeling both fear and excitement. She had begun as a mechanic, curious about an ancient ship. Now she was a strategist, diplomat, and pilot, carrying the weight of civilizations on her shoulders. The human element, her creativity, courage, and unpredictability, was not just her advantage. It was her responsibility. "I won't fail," Lyra whispered. "Not now. Not ever, nor will you," Aeon replied. "But the true challenge lies ahead. The network's core, where the ultimate power rests, will not surrender easily. You will face choices that no human or alien has faced before." Lyra nodded, determination hardening in her chest. She had learned to survive, to adapt, and to outthink the galaxy's greatest powers. The next steps would test her in ways she could not yet imagine. But she understood one truth. Humans were underestimated for a reason. They were unpredictable. And that unpredictability could change the course of history. The stars stretched endlessly before her. Lyra knew that she carried not just a ship, but the hope of a galaxy teetering on the brink of destruction. And somewhere ahead, the true test awaited, the point where knowledge, courage, and ingenuity would determine whether the galaxy would see peace or annihilation. Lyra gripped the controls, feeling the ship hum beneath her hands. The adventure was far from over. In fact, it was only beginning. The stars were quiet that night, their faint glow scattered across the dark sea of space. Lyra sat in the command chair, her hands resting on the control panels of Aeon, the ancient ship she had restored with her own hands. The journey had changed her. She was no longer the mechanic from a forgotten colony. She was now the only being who could stop a galactic war. "Aeon," she said softly, her voice echoing in the dim light. "Is this really the end of the road?" "It is the beginning of the final path, Lyra," Aeon replied calmly. Its voice carried the weight of ancient knowledge. "Ahead lies the core, the central link of the superweapon network. Once we reach it, the galaxy's fate will depend on your choice." Lyra leaned back in her chair and stared at the swirling blue tunnel of hyperspace. She felt fear, but also strength. Every decision she had made brought her here. Every risk, every moment of doubt, every human instinct, it all mattered now. The ship exited hyperspace, and before her stretched a massive structure floating in the void. It looked like a fortress of light and darkness, millions of kilometers wide, glowing with alien energy. It was called the Ecliptic Core, and it pulsed like a beating heart. "This is it," Aeon said. "The center of the network. Every weapon, every defense grid, every system of destruction is connected here. If we fail, the war begins, and it will not end." Lyra took a deep breath. "Then let's not fail." She approached slowly, scanning the area. Dozens of fleets surrounded the core. The Dominion, the Unity Alliance, the Trivac Swarm, all the major powers had gathered, ready to fight for control. As soon as Lyra's ship appeared, every sensor locked on her. Channels opened across the network, demanding her surrender. Voices shouted, accusing, threatening, pleading. "Human, you will stand down. Surrender the ship and we will spare your people. That vessel is a danger to the galaxy." Lyra didn't respond. She stared at the chaos on her screens, hundreds of fleets, thousands of ships, all seconds away from battle. "Aeon, open a channel to all of them," she said. A moment later, her voice echoed through every ship in the system. "This is Lyra of Earth. You've all been fighting for centuries and you're ready to destroy everything again. But listen to me, this ship isn't a weapon. It's a key. A key that can lock all your wars away forever." There was silence across the networks. Then came laughter, anger, disbelief. "A human speaks of peace? You know nothing of our history." One alien leader shouted, "We will not trust a Death Worlder with such power." Another yelled. Lyra closed her eyes. "I didn't ask for your trust," she said softly. "I just asked for your chance to live." And then she activated the ship. Aeon systems roared to life. Ancient runes glowed across the hull, lighting up the void. The old warship shone like a sun, and a wave of energy rippled outward. Instantly, chaos broke loose. The fleets panicked, thinking she was about to fire. Missiles launched. Lasers cut through space. The sky became fire. "Aeon, what's happening?" "They are attacking, Lyra. Their fear blinds them. We must move." Lyra's hands flew over the controls. She dodged blasts, weaved through debris, and accelerated toward the core. Ships exploded all around her, the light of destruction flashing through the cockpit. Her heart raced, but her mind stayed clear. She had one goal: to reach the core and finish what she started. "You can't predict me," she muttered to herself. And that's why I'll win. The ship twisted, dove and danced through impossible trajectories. No alien pilot could follow such erratic movement. Human instinct guided her hands. Experience guided her heart. Aeon, prepare synchronization. Warning. Entering synchronization zone will expose your mind to the entire network. You may not survive. I don't care, Lyra said. If I can save them, it's worth it. The ship pierced the final barrier, crashing through waves of plasma and energy. The ecliptic core loomed before her like a giant sun, trembling under its own power. She flew straight into it. For a moment, everything vanished. No stars, no sound, no time. Lyra found herself standing inside a vast white space, surrounded by endless light. She wasn't in the cockpit anymore, she was inside the network. Her consciousness floated among billions of data streams, each representing a weapon, a fleet, or a world. Welcome, Lyra. Aeon's voice echoed around her. The core awaits your decision. You can control the network now, but you must choose how. Lyra saw visions flash before her. Entire planets burning, children crying, fleets destroying each other in endless wars. And then she saw something else, peace. Worlds rebuilding, species working together, laughter instead of screams. If you disable the weapons, peace may come, but some powers will resist. You will be hunted, perhaps killed. If you do nothing, the galaxy will burn and billions will die. Lyra felt the weight of it all crush down on her. One human life against trillions. One choice against history itself, she whispered. Aeon, what do you think I should do? Aeon's voice grew soft. I was built for war, yet you gave me purpose again. I believe humans were not made to destroy. They were made to rebuild. Choose peace, Lyra. It is your nature. Lyra closed her eyes. Her heart beat once, twice, and she made her choice. The light flared. The core trembled. A wave of energy spread across the galaxy, reaching every system, every weapon, every ship. Engines shut down, missiles froze, energy cannons powered off. Across thousands of worlds, the silence of peace fell like rain. In the Dominion's command ship, admirals stared at their dead systems. In the Swarm's hive world, the Queen screamed in confusion. On the Alliance's stations, soldiers dropped their weapons in awe. The network had been locked. No superweapon could fire again. In the heart of the core, Lyra stood trembling. The energy was draining her life, connecting her mind to every system at once. She could feel the pain of every world, the hunger, the fear, the longing for peace. It was almost too much to bear. Lyra, you must break the link.
You'll die.
Aeon cried. Not yet, she whispered. Just a little longer. Her body weakened, but she smiled. For the first time, the galaxy was quiet. For the first time, they had a chance to live. Then, with one last effort, she released the connection and everything went dark. When Lyra opened her eyes, she was lying in the cockpit. The ship floated silently near the now-still core. Stars glimmered peacefully outside. Aeon's voice was faint but steady. Lyra, you did it. The weapons are gone. The galaxy is safe, Lyra exhaled shakily. Are they really at peace? For now, yes. They cannot fight without their toys of destruction. They must talk, rebuild, and remember what peace feels like. Lyra smiled weakly. Good. That's all I wanted. And you, Lyra, you are known now across the galaxy. They call you the human key, she laughed softly. I'm just an engineer who fixed an old ship and saved a galaxy. Weeks later, messages poured across the stars. Alien leaders offered truce agreements. Former enemies exchanged resources instead of missiles. For the first time in thousands of years, no warships moved across the stars. Lyra refused the fame. She left the core quietly, taking Aeon back to her small colony. There, she repaired broken machines, helped travelers, and watched the night sky with quiet pride. You could have ruled the galaxy, Aeon said one evening. I didn't want to rule, Lyra said with a smile. I just wanted them to see that humans can build, not just destroy. Aeon was silent for a long moment. Then it said softly, the galaxy will remember you, Lyra, not as a warrior, but as a maker of peace. Years passed. The galaxy healed slowly. New alliances formed. Trade routes reopened. Where once there was war, now there were stories. Stories of a single human woman who restored an ancient ship and used it not to conquer, but to save. And somewhere deep in space, the Aeon slept in orbit above a peaceful world, waiting silently for the day humanity would need it again. Lyra would always be remembered, not as a soldier or savior, but as the woman who showed the galaxy the most human truth of all. That courage is not only found in battle. Sometimes it is found in choosing peace.